Hey, Odysseyers. I just got to tell you, I found your channel, Insightful Odyssey,
Hmm.
and I am so impressed with your dives into all these incredible stories.
Thanks.
Really, really great stuff. So today we're going to take our own deep dive.
Okay.
We're going into Leo Tolstoy's Anna Karenina.
Oh, fantastic choice.
We're going to break it down like across 10 concise episodes. Each one is going to kind of capture a major part of the story. Then we'll really dig into the themes that Tolstoy brings up, the stuff that makes this book such a classic.
It's amazing to think Anna Karenina was written so long ago, but the themes, they still resonate today.
Yeah.
Like love, societal expectations,
Oh, yeah.
infidelity, and the search for meaning. Tolstoy was so good at capturing all the little nuances of the human experience.
Totally. Okay, so episode 1, we're dropped right into Moscow high society,
Yeah.
right? Balls, waltzes, all that. We meet our main characters, Anna, elegant and sophisticated, but stuck in a loveless marriage.
Right.
And then there's Vronsky, this charming young officer, and he is completely smitten with Anna. You can see the stage being set for their forbidden romance right away. Like the stolen glances, the way their worlds kind of collide. It's electric.
Well, and right away, Tolstoy throws this tension at you, right? This tension between like what you want and what society expects of you. Like Anna, she's torn, right? She wants love and fulfillment, but she's also a wife. She has a place in society.
You get it, the push and pull she's feeling.
Yeah.
And then in episode 2, their romance, it explodes. They can't deny their connection anymore. But of course, there are consequences, like when Anna confesses to Dolly, her
Yeah.
sister-in-law, about the affair. You feel the guilt, the shame.
Oh, that confession is huge. It changes everything. For Anna, it's like she can't hide anymore. And it exposes like how hypocritical 19th century Russia was, right?
Yeah.
Infidelity was condemned, especially for women, but for men, not so much.
Total double standard. And
Mhm.
and in episode 3, you see those double standards really come down on Anna hard. The word's out, and everyone's judging her. She's shunned by her friends. People are gossiping. And she's even kept from her son.
Yeah. It's tragic. It's like she becomes this outcast. She carries the weight of society's condemnation. But Vronsky, he gets off pretty much scot-free. Tolstoy makes you feel her isolation, her despair. It makes you think about the power of society. What happens when you go against the grain? What's the price of happiness?
It's like she's being punished for following her heart, for trying to find happiness
Yeah.
outside of a marriage that's already dead.
Hmm.
And then to make things even worse, in episode 4, she decides to leave her son behind to start a new life with Vronsky. It's just heartbreaking. She's desperate for love and happiness, but it's such a huge cost.
I think it really highlights how complicated motherhood is, the sacrifices women are often forced to make. And these impossible choices, especially in a society where expectations are so rigid, it makes you ask, what is love? Can it even survive when you're completely cut off from family, from your support system?
Okay, so now we have Anna and Vronsky running off to try and find their happy ending, but then Tolstoy brings in a whole other story running parallel to their passionate affair. We meet Levin, this landowner who's wrestling with some big questions about life, love and what it all means. His world is totally different from Anna's. It's all about nature, farming, his own inner struggles with faith.
Levin's such a great counterpoint to Anna. You have Anna consumed by love and society's pressures, and then you have Levin on this quest for like spiritual understanding. He's thinking about faith, family, what it all means, and it gives you this whole different view on, what it means to be human.
And I love how in episode 5, those paths start to cross. So
Yeah.
Anna and Vronsky are still all fireworks and passion, but Levin, he's drawn to Kitty Shabbatskaya. She's young,
Yep.
kind of represents this innocence that he really wants. And we see him, trying to figure out how to woo her, dealing with his own insecurities, and then finally working up the courage to tell her how he feels.
It's fascinating. Tolstoy, he puts these two different love stories side by side. You have this passionate, almost dangerous love with Anna and Vronsky, and then this quieter, more grounded love with Levin and Kitty. It's like he's showing the whole spectrum of love.
And he's brilliant at it. Like, remember the horse race where Vronsky falls? Oh, my heart was in my throat.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can sense the danger lurking beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect romance.
Yeah, that scene, it's Tolstoy at his best using symbolism. Like Vronsky's fall, it foreshadows what's coming. Even the strongest love is fragile.
Right. And speaking of fragile, episode 6 is where you start to see the cracks in their relationship. The initial excitement's fading, and the reality of their situation is setting in. They're isolated, they've got money problems, and they're constantly looking over their shoulder. And meanwhile, Levin and Kitty. They're starting their life as a married couple, figuring out how to navigate all the ups and downs of daily life together.
And Tolstoy, he gets marriage. He shows it in a real way. It's not all sunshine and roses. It takes work. You have to compromise. You have to adapt, especially with all those expectations from society.
Yeah.
You see Levin and Kitty, they go through all that. Their love grows. It becomes stronger.
Yeah.
And it's like he's contrasting that with Anna and Vronsky.
Yeah.
You know, their love is burning them up. But Levin and Kitty, they're finding strength in the everyday.
It makes you realize love isn't always easy. Sometimes it's those simple, quiet moments of connection that matter the most.
Tolstoy really knew how to pack it all in, huh? Love, betrayal, social commentary, philosophy.
It's all there.
Yeah.
And he just gets people. Like the way he writes about what's going on in their heads is just incredible.
Definitely one of the greatest novels ever written, for sure.
Okay, so in episode 7, Anna world is really falling apart.
Mm.
You know, being shut out by society, it's just crushing her mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
She's withdrawing more and more. She's using opium to try to escape.
Mm.
And her relationship with Vronsky, well, it started with all this passion, this feeling of escape, but now
Yeah.
it's almost like it's suffocating her. It's just constant fear and judgment.
It's so sad. She was looking for love and happiness, and it's destroyed her. Tolstoy is really showing how destructive societal pressure can be.
It's like she's trapped, you know, no matter what she does, there's no escape. And then in episode 8, it gets even worse.
Mm.
She's denied access to her son, Seryoza.
Oh, gosh.
That's when you really see how much she's sacrificed, how much she's lost.
It's a turning point for sure. Like you see the full force of society's judgment against her. She's pushed away from everyone she loves. And the distance between her and Vronsky,
Yeah.
it grows. They don't have a future together. And they both know it.
Right. But while Anna's world is spiraling, Levin's story takes a totally different direction.
Yeah.
In episode 9, he's really struggling with some big questions about life and death, like trying to find meaning in a world that feels so unfair, so chaotic.
Yeah, he's wrestling with faith, with doubt.
Right.
He's worrying about being a good husband, a good father. He finds comfort in nature, in working the land. And it's all part of what makes his character so, so relatable.
So you've got Anna chasing love and Levin searching for something bigger than himself.
And that's the beauty of it, right? Tolstoy shows these two very different paths to happiness.
And then in episode 10, well, we see the tragic end to Anna's story while Levin starts to find some peace.
It's heartbreaking. Anna, she just can't take it anymore. The isolation, the guilt, the loss of her son, Vronsky pulling away, it all pushes her to make a terrible decision.
And it's a reminder of how powerful society is, how much damage those expectations can do.
It's a powerful ending.
Blaming.
And then there's Levin. He finds some comfort, some meaning in his faith and his family and his connection to the land. It's like he shows us that real happiness. It's not about chasing fleeting moments of pleasure, but finding a deeper connection to life itself.
It's a really powerful ending to a book that stays with you long after you finish it. Okay, so we've gone through the main plot points, but Anna Karenina is so much more than just a story, right?
Absolutely. The themes are what make it a true masterpiece.
Mhm.
Tolstoy was going way deeper than just telling a story. He was exploring love, societal hypocrisy, faith, the whole human experience.
So let's dive into those themes, shall we? We got to start with love and adultery. I mean, right from the beginning, you're thrown into this intense, passionate affair between Anna and Vronsky. But Tolstoy doesn't sugarcoat it. He shows how love can be just as destructive as it can be beautiful, especially when it clashes with what society wants.
And he shows you all these different kinds of love. You have the passionate, all-consuming love between Anna and Vronsky, and then you have the more quiet, stable love between Levin and Kitty. It's like he's saying that there are all these different ways to experience love, and each one comes with its own set of joys and sorrows.
And by showing these love stories in the context of this very rigid, judgmental society, he makes you really think about relationships, about how complex they are, and about what happens when you break the rules. Like, he doesn't let you forget about those double standards, how women were treated so much worse than men for infidelity.
Absolutely. And speaking of societal expectations, the way Tolstoy shows hypocrisy is just brilliant. It's not just about what he says, it's about how he shows it through the characters, especially Anna. She's practically banished for her affair, but Vronsky,
Right.
he just strolls right back into society like nothing happened.
It's infuriating,
Yeah.
but it just shows you how much power society had, especially back then.
Yeah. And Tolstoy's critique goes even further. He's pointing out how shallow the aristocracy was. They're obsessed with appearances, totally disconnected from the struggles of ordinary people. Like he's holding up this mirror to society, making you question your own values, the systems that create injustice and inequality. And he does it all without preaching, you know? He
Yeah.
just shows you the characters and their struggles, and he lets you draw your own conclusions. It's brilliant.
And he makes his characters so real, so flawed, but still so human.
Yeah, like you might not always agree with their choices, but you get it. You understand why they do the things they do.
Exactly. And that's why the themes resonate so much with readers, even today. No matter where you come from, what you believe, you can connect with those universal struggles. Like the search for meaning, which I think comes through most strongly with Levin.
He's battling with these big questions about faith and doubt, searching for his purpose in a world that often feels meaningless. It's something we all grapple with at some point,
Oh,
right?
for sure. And his spiritual journey, it's such a contrast to all the darkness and turmoil in Anna's story.
Exactly. It's like he's showing us that faith, family, community, those things can give us a sense of purpose, help us through the tough times.
It's that search for solid ground, for
Yeah.
something to hold on to when everything else feels uncertain.
And speaking of different journeys, the way Tolstoy portrays family, domestic life, that's another theme that stands out. We see Anna's tragic experience with motherhood, and then we get this glimpse into the reality of Levin and Kitty's marriage.
Yeah.
And let's be real, it's not always perfect. Definitely not a fairy tale, but it's honest, you know? Tolstoy shows you the challenges they face, the compromises, the adjustments, but you also see the joy, the deep love that holds a family together.
It's like Tolstoy saying love isn't always easy or glamorous, but it's in those little everyday moments that's where you find the real meaning. And throughout Anna Karenina, there's this sense that everyone's trying to find their place, figure out where they belong.
It's like that basic human need for connection, for meaning, for something to believe in.
And Tolstoy really captures that, that feeling of wanting to belong, to make sense of it all. It's really amazing, though, how Tolstoy brings all these themes to life. Like he uses all these different techniques. I was thinking about polyphony,
Yeah.
how he gives every character a voice, their own perspective, and it all comes together to create this whole rich world.
It's what makes it so complex, right? You see things from all these different angles. Like you have Anna with her all-consuming love, and then Levin searching for the meaning of life. Two completely different paths.
It's like he's saying there's no one right way to live, no easy answers, and that's what keeps Anna Karenina so relevant.
Yeah.
It makes you think, makes you go question everything.
Yeah.
Those big questions about love, society, even just existing, they're still relevant today.
Totally. And Tolstoy gets inside people's heads. You see their motivations, their doubts, their flaws. Anna struggling with what she wants versus what society tells her. Levin wrestling with faith. Kitty growing from this naive girl into a woman with so much compassion. Each character, they teach you something about what it means to be human.
It's funny, when I first read it, I was all about the romance,
Yeah.
Anna Vronsky. But every time I go back, I notice new things. The other characters, the social commentary, Levin's struggles.
That's the thing about great books, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can read them over and over, and you'll always find something new. Anna Karenina really gives you a lot to think about. It's a book that stays with you.
I noticed the duality this time, Like, you have Anna and Levin, passion versus reason, the pressure of society versus what you want for yourself. It's like Tolstoy's showing us these two sides of everything, how they shape us, influence the choices we make.
And that duality, it's so powerful. It's like he's reminding you that life is complicated. There's not always a clear answer, a right or wrong. Like, love can be amazing and devastating.
Right.
Society can be comforting and suffocating. Faith can be your rock, or it can be a struggle. Tolstoy doesn't shy away from that. He embraces it, and he wants you to as well.
It's like you say, life is messy. Be okay with that. Ask
Yeah.
the hard questions and find your own truth. And that's something we can all relate to, right? No matter who you are, what you believe.
Absolutely. Anna Karenina, it speaks to something universal. It's about love and loss and betrayal and the pressure to conform and that search for meaning that we all go through. But it's also about the choices we make, the impact they have, and how strong we are as humans.
This has been incredible. We've really dug into Anna Karenina, the story, the characters, the themes. Hopefully our listeners, especially you Odysseyers, you've gotten a lot out of it.
I hope it inspires people to pick it up again or maybe discover it for the first time.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. And don't forget those big questions Tolstoy asks about love, about society, about what it all means. He may not give you the answers, but he gives you the tools to figure them out for yourself. And who knows, maybe you'll learn something about yourself along the way. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. See you next time.